Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, welcome back to this little corner of the internet. I really hope that you're doing well. Yes, you did read the title correctly. We will be talking about why envy and jealousy are gifts to us. I know this might sound weird and super surprising, but I do really believe that these two feelings can be used as positive guides for us within our life. Even though we learn as kids that envy and jealousy are ugly feelings, that we shouldn't feel them, we shouldn't be envious, we shouldn't be jealous, we should be grateful for what we have. I'm trying in this video to reframe this whole mindset and hopefully I succeed. So if that sounds interesting to you, please continue watching. We will be first covering the definition of envy and jealousy, how they differentiate between one another, and then we're going to be talking about why is it that jealousy and envy are gifts to us. So let's get into it. Notice that I'm wearing green, which is the color of envy and jealousy apparently, so I'm really committed to this video. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So let's start with the definition of envy. From the Collins Dictionary online, envy is defined as the feeling you have when you wish you could have the same thing or quality that someone else has, whereas jealousy is defined as the feeling of anger or bitterness which someone has when they wish they could have the qualities or possessions that another person has. So from these two definitions, you can see how these two words have the very similar definition. So it's quite difficult to distinguish between the both of them. So when I went online, Merriam-Webster distinguishes these two words by saying that oftentimes jealousy is when you worry that someone will take what you have, whereas envy is when you want what someone else has. So that's how some people distinguish between those two words. Some people just use envy and jealousy as synonyms, and I think from now on I'm just going to use them as synonyms, but basically envy and jealousy is when you want something that somebody else has and you feel some type of way towards what somebody else has. Okay, so that's how I'm going to be defining those two words from now on. And now we can get into the second part of the video, which is why are jealousy and envy a gift? And the first point that I really want to drive home is that all emotions are meant to be felt. So it's good to want to only feel happy and only feel peaceful and only feel all of the positive, good, happy emotions. But we need to feel all the spectrum of emotions. That's what makes us human. And you can't just be happy all the time. And you need to feel all the different emotions that come up to you because they all teach you something different about yourself. And I think it's good to start taking away those connotations of emotions and labeling certain emotions as good and other emotions as bad and others as ugly and those as pretty. Like, take the connotation out. An emotion and a feeling is just something that you feel sometimes. And instead of being like, oh, it's ugly, use it as a tool. Use it as a tool to learn more about who you are and dive deeper into understanding as to how you function as a human being. And so that's the main thing that I want to talk about, is that jealousy and envy, you can use those feelings as tools that can guide you within your life. So that beautifully brings me to the second point, which is that jealousy and envy, when you feel those emotions, use them as a guide. They're a very powerful guide that can drive you within the right direction that you want to go in life. And if you kind of reframe this within your mind, you kind of realize that, wow, like, these emotions are powerful and they're here for a reason. They help you identify what it is that you truly want and start carving out slowly but surely the path that it is that you want to be on, okay? And so it's not a good thing actually to label these emotions as ugly and push them under the rug, because they're so powerful in helping you walk down the path that you do want to walk down in life. So let's say you find yourself really jealous and envious of your friend that's currently in a relationship, and she's newly in a relationship and she seems really happy and you're just really jealous and envious of them. That is a sign, potentially, that maybe what it is that you want right now is also to be in a relationship. And so the jealousy and the envy has nothing to do with the other person. I think sometimes we've labeled this emotion as an ugly one because you're like, oh, like, I want to take away what that other person has, or I'm comparing myself to this other person and want what they have. But actually, that person is not in the equation. That person has something that you want. And you don't have to make it ugly and be like, take what they have. You can just be like, hey, they have something that I also want. And that doesn't mean that I'm going to take away what they have. That just means that I'm going to work hard so that I can have a similar thing that what they have, because clearly I'm feeling this feeling and this is telling me, this is probably something that I want. So going back to that example, if you're that friend that's like, oh my god, like I see that my friend is in the relationship and I feel some sort of way, I feel jealous, I feel envious, whatever it is, actually use that as a sign. Use that as a, hey, you know what? This is actually something within me that's telling me, hey bestie, you want to be in a relationship. And maybe you hadn't ever realized that before and you thought that you were being mean and like had ugly feelings towards your friend, but actually it's just that you want to be in a relationship as well. And then once you realize that, everything kind of calms down. You're like, you know what? I have the power within me to seek that out. The same way that if you want to go into med school and that one of your friends gets in before you and that you've also sent the application at the same day, you have a similar profile, you have a similar CV, you both do well at interviews, and they had an offer before you, you might feel very like, oh god, like I'm so jealous of them, I feel annoyed that they got the offer first because now I'm jealous or whatever it is. But actually it just tells you, you also want an offer. And you don't necessarily want to take that offer from them because you're like, well, they also worked really hard. But that doesn't also mean that you don't want the same thing, if that makes sense. I was just editing this video and I had a new thought that I think is important to add. Another thing that kind of really shows you that jealousy and envy is really just nothing to do with a bad emotion. Is that the moment that you get what it is that you do want, that feeling leaves. So again, if we use that example of like the med school one, you wanted to get into med school and you were jealous of your friend that got in, the moment you get in, that feeling of like jealousy at its core or envy leaves because now you have the thing. Then maybe it might be that you're still envious or jealous about another aspect of what they do have in their life, but that specific like I was jealous because I didn't get in leaves because now you have it. So then again, it's not necessarily something that's like bad or a bad feeling, it just tells you, hey, that's something that I do want, and the moment you have it, the feeling's gone. But yeah, that was my point that I wanted to add quickly. But yeah, going back to the video now. So I think it's super, super important that we take certain connotations away from certain feelings. Every single feeling is here to teach you something, is here to guide you along your path. And jealousy and envy are actually super, super powerful in helping you identify what it is that you truly want. Because you will not be jealous and you will not be envious of something that somebody has that you don't want. So for example, I could not care less about being good at football. I'm never going to be jealous about my friend that gets into this really cool football club after doing, years and years of football. I'd be like, that's really cool for them, but I'm not going to be jealous about the fact that they get to play football all day. However, if someone that I know is, also on social media and, seems to be doing super, super well compared to how I'm doing, I might feel a little bit envious and be like, oh, I really want that. But again, that will cement in my brain, this is something that I want. And so actually, sometimes jealousy and envy, once you notice that, hey, this is something that I want, and you see that somebody else has achieved that, you can use that as well as motivation. So going back to that example, if somebody in social media is really good at what they do, and I know them and they're doing really, really well, and compared to what I'm doing, I might be like, oh, I'm super jealous, I'm super envious of what they have. And I might feel that for a little bit, but then I'll be like, okay, you know what? I am feeling jealous and envious of what they have because that's something that I also want. And so seeing that they have achieved that is kind of a goal. It's motivating me. It's like, okay, this is what I want, so I'm gonna continue working hard and posting every week to get to that objective. So yeah, I think this video today was a little bit shorter, but I think it was really important to start reframing certain uglier emotions, because everything's meant to be felt and things are here to teach you things about yourself. And generally, repressing certain emotions, putting them under the rug, is never the right way to go about it. Having the feeling within yourself, I'm jealous, I'm envious of somebody, does not mean that you have to act on it and then act a certain way towards the person that has what you want to have. It just is a pointer and a guide to you to be like, hey, this is also something that I want. If afterwards you act on that and you are mean to the person that has what you have, or you try to prevent them from continuing to be successful and you start to talk badly about them to other people, that's when you're using that emotion as a negative fuel. If you're using that emotion as like, hey, this is also something I want, and then you use that feeling to work harder on what it is that you truly do want, you're then using that as positive fuel. Within us, we have the choice to make between if we want to use jealousy and envy as a gift, positive fuel, or as, something that's really ugly and, perpetuates a lot of negativity. which is a negative fuel. And if you want my opinion, I've used jealousy and envy multiple times as a positive fuel. So hey ho, you do with that what you will. I think this video was a lot shorter than I usually do. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know what you think about this down below, because I think it was a topic that I really wanted to talk about for a while. So leave all of your thoughts down below. And if you did enjoy the video, please subscribe to my channel, like this video, subscribe to my channel, and share this video with other people that could benefit from it as well. And yeah, I think I'm gonna go. See you guys next week.